Very good afternoon and or evening, should I say. It is a later edition of Vogan's European Outlook for Monday, the bank holiday Monday edition. It is the 5th of May, I think it is. No, it isn't. It's actually the 6th of May. I'll get there. Thanks for clicking on to today's video. Hope you're enjoying the long bank holiday weekend, if you happen to be getting the benefit of that, of course. And I hope you're safe and well wherever you are. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already done so, check out the live stream. You can play that back at your leisure with a link in the description below today's video on that. Looking at all things global weather, of course, the significant flooding across southern Brazil, southeastern China, and also Texas in the USA as well. We're looking at that in quite a bit of detail yesterday afternoon. So, over the next several days, we are going to see pressures rising, and therefore, we are going to start to see the rainfall distribution ease off in much of England, Wales, but we are going to continue to see rain across particularly northern and northwestern areas of both Northern Ireland and Scotland. So, as the area of high pressure builds overhead, we do have plenty of showers to speak about at the moment. They are being felt in several areas of the country. If you're underneath those showers, you're probably experiencing downpours, local hail, gusty winds, even thunder and lightning as well. Cooler in the mid levels and upper levels of the atmosphere. We've got some daytime heating going on at the surface. That's encouraging the April shower like activity across the board. But this is the first chart I want to show you in today's video. This is the total accumulated precipitation of the ECMWF. And you can see that the vast majority of any rainfall, now we do have an area of southeastern UK that is expected to see some rain over, that's actually over the next day, today and through this evening. But the vast majority of England and Wales is actually going to see very little in the way of rainfall through between now and pretty much Saturday. So a fairly decent break in terms of rain for many areas of the country. But what happens is high pressure builds in from a southerly direction. We've got a frontal system that's never too far away from the south or the west northwest of the country. So outbreaks of rain will be present on that boundary, and it's going to be primarily across Scotland, especially northwestern areas and northwestern areas of Northern Ireland as well. So the showers over the next few days is going to ease significantly across England and Wales. We'll continue to see the rain elsewhere across the north and northwest. We are also introducing milder air as we progress through, particularly the middle and second half of this very short work week, of course. And we could see the first 25 Celsius of the year so far by the time we reach Friday or Saturday. But you can see, if we skip right back, there's the outbreaks of rain that we expect through the course of today. So southern and central Scotland, northeastern England, there is thunderstorms running up the eastern side of the Pennines at the moment. And also we've got some activity across the London area, the southeast, in the parts of Bedfordshire as well, seen by the ECMWF model. You've got also some fairly heavy rainfall across south and southeastern France, up the eastern side of France. We've got some heavy outbreaks of rain. Now, as we play through this sequence, you notice that we've got an area of heavier precipitation running up the western side of Ireland and Scotland here. Now, we do have showers developing across northeastern, northern, southern, and central Scotland into eastern areas of Scotland as well, but also up the western side of the Highlands, we're going to see some heavy outbreaks of rain associated with that front that kind of essentially becomes stuck in place as the high pressure builds across England and Wales. That frontal system is essentially kept at bay across the northwest of the country here. But all in all, I think the bulk of England and Wales, once you get away from the next 24 hours or so, when you start to see a little bit more of a capped atmosphere within the mid levels, you then start to ease off the shower production through the course of the daytime heating hours. We're going to start to see little in the way of rain developing here. So this is all the way out to Monday of next week, and the vast majority of any heavy precipitation will be across Western Ireland, Western Northern Ireland, and Western Scotland here. Now we could see some outbreaks of rain pretty much anywhere across Scotland in particular. But once you get south of Carlisle, especially down past Lancashire, you're easing that potential of heavy precipitation uh, further south of these locations because you're underneath, closer to the centre of the high. Notice here we've got some fairly unsettled conditions across central and southern areas of the continent also. This is the current visible satellite image, by the way, and you can see that we have got, if I can get to the right chart, just bear with me a little second. I do apologize for that. And we will have a look and see what the current visible satellite imagery looks at the time of recording. So as you can see, we've actually got a little bit of a circulation over northern France. We've got areas of cloud cover here across southern central areas of England, up into the North Midlands, northern England. Where you've got the kind of brighter clouds, that is tends to be where you've got the highest cloud tops, and therefore probably embedded thunderstorms within these higher cloud tops across parts of northern England, southern England as well. Now we do have breaks in the cloud. Where we've got those breaks, the temperatures are fairly decent across the majority of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and really the vast majority of the UK is trapped underneath that cloud cover. And underneath that cloud cover, temperatures are subdued. We've only got 10, 11, 12 Celsius across the far north of the UK here. As we progress further south in the breaks, there's a 16 at both Bishopton and Glasgow Airport. So you can see quite a difference between even the 10.4, 10.5 at Loch Liscarnock versus the 16 at both Bishopton and Glasgow Airport here. But where you've got the cloud, you've got the most subdued temperatures here. The same across parts of Northern Ireland where you've only got 10 Celsius. That is fairly subdued for the time of the year. And then as you press through England and Wales, we've got the pleasant 17s to around 18 Celsius across the Midlands here. Further south, underneath the shower activity, we've got the relatively subdued temperatures here. Looking at the current radar image of the same website, Weather Online, you can see this is the current position of any shower activity. So we've got some fairly heavy showers developing across the central belt, just to the north of the central belt, southwestern Scotland, northwestern England, down the spine of the Pennines, for example. Here's outbreaks of rain to the northeast of London through parts of Suffolk here in the Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, for example, and into the south central areas of the country. We've got some fairly heavy showers here, some very heavy showers across parts of West Yorkshire, for example. That looks like it's close to the kind of Leeds Bradford area, up into the Lake District, for example. We've got some fairly heavy showers over higher parts of central Wales as well, to the east of Cardiff, close to the Bristol area. We've got some very heavy showers developing as well around Poole as well. So yeah, we've got plenty of showers around areas of the country today. But as I say, as the high pressure starts to build, we should start to see a relaxation of some of those showers in the coming days to come. Looking at the Mann-Julian oscillation, something that I keep harping on about because we're in a reasonably strong phase 4 and 5 as the chart suggests, and therefore it correlates quite nicely with the upcoming 7-day period, which is largely drier than average, as you can see according to the CFSV2, across really from central Scotland southwards. This is average compared, well, this is compared to average, so it doesn't mean that it's going to be completely dry, but it means it's drier than average for the upcoming 7 days. If we look at the upper pattern for the next 7 days, you can see that we've got the phase 4-5 MJO, strong area of high pressure bang slap over the UK and Ireland here. So therefore it constitutes a drier than average seam, and no surprise we've got warmer than average temperatures as a result of that. Going back to the upper air chart here, as we skip into the following week, you notice here that the high shifts eastwards and introduces something of more low pressure, a battle between high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west here. This is obviously the means over a 7-day span, but this is between the 13th and the 20th of May, and therefore you may see more of a threat of something coming in from the west off the Atlantic, but it also means that we have a greater chance of seeing warmer air as lower pressure nears to the west coast of Ireland and the UK here, you tend to draw air from the south. And if you look at the for the 8 to 14 day period, it still shows warmer than average, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see even warmer than average compared to what the CFSV2 is showing. So if we look at the overview chart of the ECMWF, we'll go back to the here and now. We've got a relatively messy picture. There's that area of low pressure seen by the model over northwestern France. Plenty of showers, like I say, across southern portions of France, central Scotland, southeastern and eastern Scotland, seeing some very heavy showers through the course of today. And as the daytime heating kicks in, we'll see those showers becoming quite widespread, as can be seen here. This is 1500 UTC, which was earlier in the afternoon. Plenty of showers blowing up, as seen by the model here. When you've got cool mid and upper levels and you've got rather stagnant air mass but strong incoming solar radiation, you then increase the development of showers during the late morning, early to mid afternoon period. So as we play through the next several days, here's the area of high pressure settling the shower activity down, becoming drier across the vast majority of the country, with the exceptions of Western and Northwestern Ireland and Northern Ireland. You see here the front agent in increasing the chance of outbreaks of rain. Now, over the next day or so, there is going to be quite a lot of cloud cover trapped beneath that building high pressure. So therefore, it's not going to be clear blue skies and sunshine and shorts and t-shirt weather by any stretch. In the sunshine, it is going to increase the temperature. We are going to see 20 Celsius probably tomorrow afternoon, for example, as we move into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. What we are going to see is that frontal system edging in, kind of toppling its way over the north and northwestern side of the high. So we're going to see plenty of cloud cover, outbreaks of rain running up the western side of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. But we are also going to start to see the southerly flow developing here as the high just ever so slightly shifts a little bit to the east. Now, this is more towards the latter half of the week and into the weekend here. Notice here, the high is now shifted out towards the North Sea and the near continent. There's that frontal system associated with a developing low edging in from the west, and therefore we're going to start to see the milder air from the south moving northwards here. So if we look at the 850s, you can see what I'm talking about here. So we lose these kind of greeny colors and start to see those lighter greens and a flirt with yellow. That represents 850 or 5,000 foot level temperatures on the rise, and therefore with sunshine and those milder temperatures in the mid levels of the atmosphere, you then increase the surface heating possibly upwards of the low 20s across parts of southern Scotland, mid 20s for the first time this year across southern and southeastern England here. So as we move towards Saturday, would not surprise me if we see a 25, even a 26 Celsius in some areas, stretching from, say, Oxford across to London up to Cambridge as we move towards Friday, possibly as early as that, if not Saturday. So, yeah, we are going to start to see warmer conditions, but is it going to last? I don't think it is, because we're going to see a frontal system moving in, and then in comes those light blues moving in across the country here. So this is going to be a short-lived surge of warmest air of the year so far, late week into the weekend, and then we're back to square one by the time we reach the early portions of next week here. In terms of precipitation, it's going to be quite interesting. Remember I said in my May forecast the possibility of seeing higher pressure regroup further south once again. So we've got the high at the moment over the UK and Ireland here. That kind of essentially shuts down the Atlantic and therefore allows our weather to become a lot more stabilized. If we look at the MJO again, you notice here that it's heading back into the inner circle, into the null phase it's called. So therefore we have a little bit less forcing of that MJO. And I explained in yesterday's live stream what the MJO phase 4 and 5 is. It's area of enhanced convection over the Indonesia region of Southeastern Asia. It's basically on the boundary between Australia and Southeast Asia. When you've got enhanced thunderstorm activity over this part of the equatorial planet, you then increase the chance of seeing warmer conditions both over eastern North America and western Europe. But once we start to see that lose that strong phase 4 5, you then start to expect a change in our latitude pattern, and that is exactly what we're going to see. So we go back to the CFSV2. You can see that we go from a dry, relatively dry week 1 into a wetter week 2. So therefore, we're returning to a wet theme once again. And this is the big question mark. Is May going to be drier than average? It could be a close call because we go from dry to wet. Then, as we move towards the 20th through the 27th, we dry things out across the north, stay wet across the bulk of England, Wales, and the Republic of Ireland as well. Into the following week, we turn dry once again. But all in all, May tends to be a relatively dry month across the UK. So it's going to be interesting to see if my May outlook pans out as expected, or will it be a little bit of a fail. I do think it's going to be a warmer than average month. I still stand by the possibility of an average to slightly drier than average north, but possibly wetter than average south, and that may play out as as we go through the course of the next few weeks. So we'll keep an eye on the pattern overall in the coming days to come. Remember, in the upcoming week, we're already in it, obviously. I will be looking at the latest long range model runs for the summer of 2024. Going to be talking about that in a bit of detail. We're going to also look at the current global sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic, the Pacific, elsewhere, how we're starting to see the potential developing La Nina as well, and the implications that may have. We're going to also be talking about a possible update on the Atlantic hurricane season forecast that I released a couple of weeks ago as well. So plenty of reason to stick around and like, share, and subscribe. You know the drill by now, and I'll see you again tomorrow, hopefully with more. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bye for now.